Hello, and welcome to the green team of the Legendarium, or should I say, Bromeliad Part 2. Today, we are finishing up our Bromeliad Trilogy. We're going to cram Book 2 and Book 3, so join us for this wild ride of gnomes and other crazy things I'm not going to spoil in the intro. I'm Seeker, and today we've got Little Red Book.
Hello.
And sorry, you'll have to tell me again. I can't pronounce. Any?
It's just Tori from the
Tori.
Cosmere Cast. Yeah.
Tori from the Cosmere Cast. And we are all Pratchett fans. So. Excuse me.
Yes, very much.
So, Red, since you're the newbie to these books, how did you like the second and third books?
I found it very interesting that they were they take place during the same time, the very beginning of Diggers, and then it splits into two books after the very beginning of Diggers. Diggers follows the gnomes in the quarry, and Wings follows Mescaline and Gerda.
Yeah, Gerda, whatever his name is.
Gerda and Anglo, as they go out to seek help for the quarry. Gnomes it's being reinvaded by humans. They're just so great, guys. They're so great. Mm-hmm. And he has just such a subtle touch when he's like, and you can tell he loves his characters. Well, I can think of one character he maybe didn't love all that much. But I found it very fascinating that I kept thinking that if Diggers were a movie, it would be a horror story for the humans. I was like, oh, this is really scary. Like, if you think of it from the
horror for the humans.
Yeah, it's a horror story. Yeah. It's a horror movie. Like, if you made it a horror movie, like the things that happen, the humans would be the poor hapless victims.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but you're absolutely right.
It's like, oh my gosh, this quarry is haunted.
Or something. There's something in this quarry that does not like people because that might be too much. Anyway, moving on. I found that interesting that the Diggers is very much in the same tone as Truckers, in the sense that it has the same sorts of epigraphs, whereas that are kind of they're written in the Book of Nome, right? Which is very kind of the King James version, whereas you get excerpts from Anglo de Haberdasher's book for science for the curious young gnome instead. So you have like this interesting juxtaposition between the two stories. You could almost see it as one book, and you could see it laid out as a chapter that follows Grimmer and a chapter that follows Mescaline, one after the other. And I mean, you could see it written that way. I think if the book was written for adults, it would have been written that way as one book, probably. My guess. I loved it. It was so great. I was hoping so much for a thing to happen that ended up happening, and it just made my heart so happy. And the way it was handled was just great and beautiful. And you guys, there's a reason why he's a sir, that he got knighted. Mm-hmm. Pratchett just rocks. He's amazing. He's so funny. Every line, not every line, but there's so many lines that are so funny. He captures the human condition. I realize these are gnomes, but gnomes are people, guys, and they're just people. He captures the human condition so well. And it's just like I said, he loves his characters, except for maybe one of the characters. But generally speaking, he loves his characters. It was great. I loved it. It was wonderful. And also,
I definitely can improve on that.
Yeah, right. And I do love the fact that the gnomes keep thinking that if they were the size of humans, that they could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just like kids, right? You think when you're grown up, you get to do whatever you want.
Yep.
And I know I said that to my parents, and they just looked at me and shook their head. And my kid said it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I wish I could do whatever I
That's actually one of my biggest beefs with a character in a different podcast we're covering. And it's like, as a teenager, now as an adult, he's just constantly, well, when I get a promotion, older, on my own, I'll be able to do whatever I want. And it's like, oh, you...
Yeah, always moving the goalpost.
As if being able to do what you want is A, ever a thing, and B, something you'd want in the first place.
So let's talk about Grimmer and what a boss babe she is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we ready for the blurb?
Yes.
Well, what did you guys think on
Or
your
do we want to
reread?
talk about Grimmer first?
No, we can just. I want to know what you guys thought on your rereads. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you see something you didn't see before? Like, how did you guys feel?
Well, so it's been so long since the last time I've read it. I don't know that I saw anything I didn't see before. I did talk last time about how it's weird that memory plays tricks on us because I thought I remembered parts of the story, and then as I'm reading them, they're like completely different. But like I feel like my memory hit all of the beats of the story, so I guess that's okay. The I like how you pointed out that the what are they, epigraphs at the beginning of the chapter were different for the two books, and I think that's because the in Diggers it's the Book of the Gnome, and that's like the history of their people, and all of the people are in Diggers, whereas it's only 3 gnomes that went off on their own in Wings, which for me, like, you need to have the 2 stories together, but I enjoy Diggers more because there's more, the stakes are higher with there being more people in it involved. There's a bit in Wings where Angelo goes off to look at the plane and gets caught by the humans, and it's like, no, you idiot, what are you, like, I was so mad at that character at that time. I was like, what, how dumb can you be? Like, I understand being excited by the thing, but really guys?
Oh, come on! If you could sneak into a Concorde cockpit, wouldn't you?
No, I would not.
And Angelo just wanted to look out the window.
And I mean, for crying out loud, not Grimmer, Goethe, I think
Goethe.
is the name of the priest. He blows a raspberry at the stewardess. Which, that was one of my favorite parts, is because he's like, I didn't blow a what's a raspberry? I didn't blow a raspberry.
Yeah. I just
If
went like
I had
this.
fruit, I would have eaten it, not blown it. Anyway. I love his humor. I love how he advances stories with humor too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
and they're not, and he does both slapstick and like very highbrow like humor.
I think
But
that's
also,
the genius of Pratchett, is he does philosophical humor, slapstick humor, puns, masters of wordplay and multiple meanings of words. And he just wraps them all up in this package where you don't feel like you have to try too hard. But also, I mean, this happens more with Discworld than the Bromeliad, but often the more times you read the books, you'll catch jokes you missed last time because there's just so many of them and they're so layered.
Yeah, I like, one of my favorite descriptions of the Patrician of Ankh is that he didn't have a reign of terror so much as a light shower.
I have not read enough Discworld to make too many comments on that. But it does make me want to read more Discworld. I get intimidated by Discworld. There's a lot of books, and it's just a lot.
But many of them stand on their own, and you don't have to read them in order. I feel like if you read them in order, it rewards itself. But I know a lot of people argue for reading the different sub-series. So, like, you would read all of the City Watch books, and then you'd read all the Witch books, or whatever. But reading whole sub-series together is a very popular method of getting through them.
I think, Red, you would love the Nanny Ogg books, the Death books, and Small Gods.
I have read a couple of the death books. I've read Mort and I've read Hogfather. I've read all the Tiffany Aching, which does have Nanny Ogg in them. As a side character. I've read The Color of Magic, and I've read a couple others. And I've loved them all.
You've got to read Soul Music.
Yeah. Is Mort the one where Death goes on vacation?
Yes.
Where Death gets an apprentice,
Yeah, and then he's like fishing. Or
in
something
Soul
weird
Music,
like that.
Somebody gets a possessed electric guitar and invents music with rocks in it.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
But yeah, he's just, yeah, you're right. He puts these ideas in a very digestible way.
So one of the things that stood out to me on this read through that I did not really think too heavily about in earlier reads was the scale of time for the gnomes. Like Pratchett says that they live 10 times faster than we do, and I was like, okay, but on this read through, I really seriously thought about every time a time frame was mentioned that to them that's like 10 times longer. So the very first time it's mentioned in the very first book is that Mescaline was saying that the truck would be parked for 3 minutes, and to a gnome, that's more than half an hour. So it's like, yeah, 3 minutes times 10, 30 minutes, cool. But in these books, it's like, well, they've been at the quarry for 6 months. So we've got to be thinking, well, that's 60 months. So that to them, that's the equivalent of years. And it talks about children have been born there, and that they're, toddlers and small children by now, and not just babies, even though they're only a few months old. And when it talks about Mescaline's been gone for 8 days, and Grima is freaking out about it, well, that's the equivalent of 80 days that he's been gone. So think about if your best friend, guy friend, maybe boyfriend, you don't know how you feel about him, but you kind of love him, but maybe you don't, but you should. And he's just missing for months.
And they have no way to communicate.
No way to communicate.
They can't even write a letter. Like, nothing. And she's has this great moment, speaking of her character, where here she is, she takes on this big role of because there's a vacuum of power, and I love the way she explains what a vacuum. You're not in charge because no one listens to you, she says to Dorcas. But she has all this, and she gets everybody safe, and then she just sits down and starts crying because the crisis is over, and now she can kind of let go, and everyone's freaked out because you expect her to yell, you expect her to scream at you. They don't know what to do if she's crying. I just think that's such a great scene.
Yeah, Grima is great. Come out from among them, and be separate, saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. For when they had fled the land of store, they entered into the land of promise, a land flowing with potato fields and rabbits. But there were giants in the land. Undeterred, the gnomes did rise up, but without their prophet Mescaline they were divided. For a false prophet did rise, speaking great things. Remember the leeks and onions of the store, he cried. Remember the cooking pots of the cantina. But when he called upon Arnold Brothers 1905, his cry was in vain. For Arnold Brothers 1905 knew Nicodemus not. Yet they needed not fear, for deliverance came from an unexpected place. The great Jacob would carry them to freedom, and a flying saucer? What?
Oh.
So
That's pretty great. I loved it. I was like, I think I said this during the. No, I didn't. I totally see why you wanted to do this for Easter / Passover. It very much has that feel to it. Very much.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
like there's this whole kind of, yeah.
Yeah. There's a whole Exodus, Jesus, resurrection, Great Commission-ish thing all tied in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it was 100% intentional to be referencing those stories for sure. And I thought it was great. It was wonderful. And I like how the books do talk about belief. And I mean, Anglo doesn't believe in Arthur
brothers.
just
Arnold
because
Brothers.
Yeah, he doesn't believe in them just so he can have something not to believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, And Gerda is like, I just have to have something to believe in. And Mescalin's like, I don't know about any of this stuff, but he's willing to use belief. The way he's willing to use belief is sometimes it's a little dodgy, but, he's more of a practical person. And all of those positions are taken kind of seriously by the book.
And they're also very serious positions of leaders, of people who, if aren't maybe political, maybe not, but definitely there are many famous, well-known people who represent all three of them and are well respected for it.
Right. And I just thought the way he put this in a kid's book, but it's so real. Mm-hmm. It's so real. How all these different characters act. And
I really respected that Nicodemus is portrayed as a true believer and not just someone who is using the belief in Arnold Brothers to claim power in that vacuum of power. Like he's portrayed as, no, the store was better. We were comfortable. And if we are faithful, we can go back there. And it doesn't come across as false or that he's just manipulating his position as a priest. I like that part.
Oh, yeah.
I dislike how he's so wrong. And like, we know how he got there and how his beliefs are driving him on, but he's still wrong.
Right.
Well, I mean, Nicodemus in so many ways represents what you might call the nostalgic conservative. It's grandpa yelling at the kids, "Get off my lawn." It's the people who just want things how they used to be when the world made sense.
Yes.
Without actually thinking about, well, we're not in a store anymore. We can't just recreate it. Humans won't just bring us food if we put up signs, and
it literally burned down behind us. We cannot go back.
Right. Right.
But there's so many people who prefer to just live in the nostalgia, and whether they really believe it or not, I'm not going to judge, but they talk and act as if the world just pretended, we could go back to how things used to be.
And how things used to be were never actually how they are anyway.
Like, of course
they had issues in the store. Like, things were not perfect. I will say that, though, the gnomes with their little cargo cult that they have in the store, they did have it pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
And you can completely understand why he's like, I just want to go back to the store.
Mm-hmm. There's a scene thus my reference to the leaks of Egypt.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a scene at the end of Wings when Mesclin wakes up on the spaceship and looks around at the furniture in the room, and it is gnome-sized, and it's just this this realization that, oh my gosh, that was not our world. It was not sized for us. And somewhere out there is an entire world that is ours. And but earlier when you mentioned that they were all thinking, if we were human sized, this would be so much easier. And yeah, they're right, because the world is human sized and the things in it are human sized and not made for gnomes, and they are the same size as a whole lot of prey on this planet.
Yeah, they think foxes are bad until they try to take on a wolf pack.
Right.
Yeah, the animals they have to face are all pretty...
Well, they're the animals of the British countryside, which...
Right, I was going to say, what did they call... They're not apex predators. They're the predators that they face are the in-betweens, the ones that are both hunted and hunters. Yeah. I'm trying to remember the term for that.
Except in England, where they are the apex, but, which is why people hunt the foxes. Or did.
Well, but, they didn't have to face an alligator. That would have been interesting. I want to see a gnome versus alligator fight.
Well, we'll have to ask the Florida gnomes. Or I think those are crocodiles. I don't remember.
They're both.
Either.
Yeah, they're both in Florida. They have both in the Everglades.
Okay.
So you're fine saying either. But I love that. I love the geese, and I love it when Mescaline says that it was scarier, and everyone's like, well, no, the Concorde was like faster and higher and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, no, but you don't feel like which is so true. Like, being on a cruise ship in the middle of the ocean is way different than being on like a little skiff, shall we say,
or a rowboat in a cove.
Right, exactly. And I just love that. Although Gerda is a little freaked out when he's told he's 10 miles up in the air. And we got a sassy thing this time. The thing got really sassy in this book.
Yes.
Which I loved. Which, I mean, that's in Wings, but anyway.
Should I just read the summary of Wings? And then we can just spoil both of them at the same time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Because I already spoiled the ending.
Okay, so here we go for Wings. For these three he did send out, saying, for the way to go home is nigh. For you will fly with the wings of an eagle. Yea, in the belly of the Concorde shall ye find rest. So having heard the word of the thing, prophet did set out in search of grandson 39. The driver and the seer did also go with him. Only by NASA shall your salvation come. By the maker of clouds shall be your deliverance. And unto them were given 2 wings like a great goose, that they might fly through the wilderness, that they might find NASA, the maker of sky. And the thing rode upon NASA. Verily it did bring the ship, and the humans were much afraid, and the small frogs too. Their flower was plucked from the treetop, from the uttermost parts of the rainforest was it brought forth, that it might win her heart, for it is not good that Nome should be alone. But the messenger cried, the time of our departure has come, but many gnomes have not heard. Then Gerda the messenger did speak to Mescaline and say, I will go forth and preach the good news to all gnomes, teaching them to observe in all things that our Redeemer liveth, that our redemption draweth nigh. Then there was much sorrow, but Mescaline did comfort them, saying, I will see you again, and your heart shall rejoice, and your joy no man taketh from you. You're having to hold back your laugh this time.
It's great. Oh, you know what? I read it twice. I read it a week ago, and then I always read books twice. By the way, on audio, if you play at 1.5, it's a total of 5 hours for both books. They're very short. And I was
God, I can't even imagine listening to gnomes who sound like Alvin.
I was gonna say, now we have the Trinity, because we have the thing in the satellite, the thing on the spaceship, and then the thing that
oh my God, I didn't even catch that. You're right. The thing has become the Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah. And Gerda's carrying the thing, and I'm like, oh, it's the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if that was intentional. I thought it was funny.
With Pratchett, honestly, who knows?
But that's what I thought of. No.
Yeah.
I love the journey that they go, that I actually preferred Wings. So I guess Tori and I can fight about that. But because I just loved them going out into the world and like riding a Concorde, and Gerda putting a hole in a sock because
Random 39 had a hole in his sock.
Yeah, because Arthur 39. And I like also that he figured out that 39 was probably his age and not there weren't 39 of them or whatever. He has a hole in his sock, and Gerda's putting a hole in his sock. He's like, what? It's my sock. I can do what I want with it. But the restoration of Jacob, which is a digger, was so great. And the sheep are running away as they're leaving the quarry. And you know what? I am glad that he swooped in and gave Grimmer that flower.
The Bromeliad. Yeah.
With the frog in it. I thought, because that's how diggers end. And
very literal-minded, that boy Mescaline.
He really is. But I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a great gift. I'm like, oh, yes. Go, Mescaline. Go. That is such the right thing to do. And when they were discussing that in Wings, the frog thing, it was, the thing kept saying, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. And strangely, the antisocial Dorcas, the mechanic, he got it when Grandma was telling him about it, oh, you mean like the world's so much bigger and there's so many things out there?
Hmm.
And he got it. He totally got it.
Yeah, I actually like
And
that because it showed that not all gnomes are as literal, are completely literally minded. There are intuitive gnomes, which allows that's how the thing presumably was programmed with, awareness of things like that.
yeah, and Grandma's actually mad because he gets it because she's like, I want to have a good pout and you're agreeing with me.
So one thing I want to point out before we get too far away from it, Jacob, yeah, I also listened to the audiobook on this reread, and it is Jacob in the audiobook, but my print copy is Americanized. It is a cat.
Oh, well,
Jacob.
yeah, that's what it is. It's a cat.
Yeah.
That's
so
funny.
Jacob or Jacob is a British earth-moving brand.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm surprised it's not John.
specifically specifically Caterpillar Tractor Company in the American version.
That's funny. I would have gone with John Deere because they make, I guess they mostly make tractors, but they make diggers and stuff too, don't they? But these gnomes have a Jacob.
These gnomes have a Jacob, yes.
And them stealing gas in the battery. I mean, that is so great.
Mm-hmm.
I
Now that you've brought
So-
it up, I cannot get the image out of my head of the human's perspective. The electrical panel full of wires. We drive in, we've got a flat tire, we come back, the gas tank's empty. It's like, what
And the
the
battery's
hell is
gone.
going on? And the battery's gone, yeah. It's like, what is
Well,
going on around here?
So they put the night watchman in there. This poor
Uh-huh.
night watchman, he's sitting there with his sandwich. He's going to
These
have a nice
prices
piece.
slashed.
Grandma puts a note on him that says, we could have killed you.
Yes.
He doesn't know who they are. Oh my God.
But with a C, I think.
In audio, it's still funny. And
Mhm.
like I said, it's a horror film. This poor guy who wakes up tied up with a note on him. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
Idea they got from Gulliver's Travels. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they're all eating his lunch.
Well, they were very hungry and they put down the arsenic. It wasn't arsenic, but
Mhm.
it was basically
It was like, the
arsenic.
guy's wondering, am I in Leprechaun, Chucky? What movie is this?
I think the other thing I really liked about Wings is that because Grimm is not really thinking about humans as humans, people. She's thinking about them as they are the invader, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, this is our
they're
land and the
gonna
humans are invading.
right, and they're going to turn us into pixies.
Yes, she's terrified of being forced to paint flowers.
And men's shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, you got all your fairy tales mixed up, girl. It's not like that, but whatever. Mescalin's thinking about them as people. He's like, we need to come back and talk to them. They're lonely. So I have a question. Why do we imagine that there's life out there? Is it because humans are lonely? What do you think? Do we feel alone in our big universe and we make things up?
I think if you look at the history of human civilization, there's always been someone else out there. Like if you go back to the age of exploration, like there were the people in Europe were looking for the New World, and some trying to get to Asia, and they were always trying to reach out to the other that was far away, and we've mapped the Earth, so logically the only place we can reach to find the other now is out there, which is not entirely accurate because there's plenty more that we can learn from each other here, but at the same time, you've got people who are like, no, we've done that already.
Mhm.
I want the thing that's
Yeah,
out
it's
there.
also like if you wanted to learn about China or, study Buddhism or whatever back in the 1500s, you literally had to spend months getting there,
Yeah.
learn the language. Now you can just get on one of these randomized, talk to people things and, voila, you're talking to someone from the other side of the world.
Which I
You
have
know,
literally done on several
Yeah.
occasions. So, do you guys want there to be? Do you personally want something to be out there besides us?
I don't know if wanting comes into it. I feel like statistically there has to be more out there.
Yeah, I take the Carl
because-
Sagan approach There just has to be mathematically.
Like, yeah, it's an infinite universe. Anything could be out there. And yeah, thinking about infinity boggles the mind. So I don't want to spend too long on it, but like, yeah, there's got to be other things out there.
Now, whether or not any two sentient species will ever make contact, I think a
Right.
lot of that depends on whether or not Einstein was right. You know, if we can break the light barrier, I think there's a decent chance. If not, probably not. You know, we'll be lucky to colonize our own solar system before we nuke ourselves or something worse.
I've always been agnostic, and I'm much more of the opinion that if there was, well, first of all, if there was life out there, they wouldn't be crashing on Earth if they can't. I, but I kind of think that probably we wouldn't encounter it just because space is really big. But I
Yeah.
love the idea of the gnomes like accidentally crash landing on Earth.
hmm
And
Well, I mean,
to
just to scale it down, just think for a minute like, okay, you and your significant other go to the store and you go look for separate things in the store, and one of you forgot your cell phone at home. So you're done shopping and you got to find your SO, and you're just going to wander around the store, and you know that this person is in the store. But it's amazing how long it can take to encounter each other in just a random Walmart. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
if
As
there
someone
is
who did this
life
back
out
in the
there,
90s,
they
that
could be
the
out
other
there looking for us, and meanwhile, we're constantly revolving around the sun. We could be just missing each other to infinity and beyond.
well, one thing that's become extremely clear with the new telescope, the James Webb, I think, is just how many galaxies there are. It's incredible, you know. But the distances, I mean, we can't even get from one to our nearest star. The
Yeah.
idea of jumping to a whole new galaxy just boggles the mind. Who knows? Maybe the next sentient species is 2 galaxies over. You know, it's like the odds that they would make it to us. It just mathematically you stand a better chance of winning the lottery.
Also, look at again, the time scale. We have been traveling to space since, we started in less than 100 years ago. And so we haven't been at it for a century yet. And look how
Yeah.
far we've come in that time. It's tempting to say, like, oh my gosh, I mean, we've only made it to the moon. We haven't even made it to the next planet over. But also like, oh my gosh, in less than a century, we've made it to the moon. And just, if we took space travel seriously, just imagine how far we could get in another 100
Oh yeah.
years.
I mean, if we actually wanted to and prioritized it, we could definitely colonize the moon. It's just, I don't know if it's will or fear that stops us, you know, because I'm sure someone read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress and is a little worried about rock.
Right.
You have to read just that. You can read The Expanse.
Yeah.
But I have read The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. But yeah, I just love the idea.
My point is that as far as space travel goes, we've barely even scratched the surface. And again, infinite universe, whatever life is out there, they could have been working on this space travel thing for literal millennia. And so they might have whatever technology is necessary to find us. So it's not, we'll just say there's a non-zero chance.
Yeah. And call back to truckers. If life did exist outside the store, it would not be life as we know it.
Right. Yes.
There's another really cool scene in Wings. Well, okay, so I'm gonna put these two together, and this is one of the reasons why I like Wings so much better. Because Diggers just feels like an extenuation of Diggers feels like an extension of Truckers, whereas they're going to new places. So first of all, Mescaline has to save the thing because the thing has used all of its power to get into the satellite. And so he just runs. He's like, I hope the humans don't kill me. I just got to get the thing close to, and he saves the thing's life, basically, by getting it to electricity. The other scene is where he's talking to John Arthur 39, and he has the thing translate. And he says, are you from the store? because my grandfather always used to tell me about the little people in the store. And then he's talking to Gerda or whatever. And he says, they believed in you too.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which
just
totally
love that.
makes Gerda's day.
Yeah, it does. I just love that part. And I get where goes out this. I just love it. And you know what? He did the other thing I really admire is those three gnomes did something that I would never do, because outside is just the place I go through to get to other insides. I'm not adventurous, except in my reading is adventurous. Like that's all the adventure I want. Thank you very much. And but it was so cool to see him going out, and Grima's defending the home front, and she's brilliant, and she doesn't kill the human even though she wants to. So good on her. No war crimes committed. and it's just, it's so great. I don't know. Now I'm just talking in circles, but it was so fun to see him go out and deal with the airport, deal with the thing, and the thing taking over the Concorde. And he's like, maybe you shouldn't try and land it.
Right. So just for Mescaline, having grown up in the outside and then goes to the store, like he's aware that there are people, but they're a thing over there to be avoided. And then he meets the gnomes of the store, and they have embraced all of this human technology, and he's appalled by it. So Mescaline taking this journey through a lot of human institutions like the airport and hotels and things, and you get to see Angelo being delighted by it because he's obsessed with the human stuff, and Gerda being confused by it because the store was supposed to be everything that was their world. It was made for them by Arnold Brothers. And Mescaline's just kind of in the middle. And then back at home, you get to see Grima, who is in charge. And this is a society where women are not allowed to be in charge. And just by dint of being the most capable, she ends up being in charge. And I won't say proving to herself that she could, because I think she always knew that she could, but she ends up proving to everybody else that she could. Mm-hmm. And but then let's go back to Gerda for a minute, because his ending is perfect. Like the part where he's going to stay behind and find the other gnomes that are out there and tell them the truth about who they are and where they've come from. After when they meet the Florida gnomes, the migratory ones with the geese, and there's a scene where they're all sitting around the camp, and Gerda is having a heated argument with whatever preacher.
Their version of him.
Yeah, yes, and they can't understand each other's language, but they're very, very clearly arguing about religion. And just knowing that that's what he's signed up for, he knows that when he goes out to preach to these other gnomes, that's what he's going to be up against. And he knows exactly how hard it's going to be, because he himself has been converted. He was a true believer in Arnold Brothers 1905, and now he is a believer in
the spaceship.
The spaceship. That they have a home elsewhere, and he hasn't even seen it, because he's not going with them.
Right.
Oh my God! I just realized. So Gerda's gonna go out and found a UFO cult. But it's also really interesting. Many of the characters are stereotypes of different types of people, different types of leadership, different personalities. But you also have the cultural difference represented between the British gnomes, which are very conservative just in general, and the Florida gnomes that are more, like when the son wants to go with Angelo and Gerda, and they're like, but it's dangerous. And she's like, and the mom is like, but that's how he'll learn. And they're like, but he might get hurt. And she's like, well, it happens. And the idea that they could be so cavalier about their kids going on a quest where they might get hurt. It's such a cultural shock to them. That was very well done.
I'm gonna push back a little bit. You're right. That he uses stereotypes as a starting point, but I do think that every character transcends the stereotype that they're based on as characters.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
And good. And he fills them like the characters feel very, very real. They feel like real people. Mm-hmm. And I love how he does that. And the funny misunderstandings and stuff. I have a feeling that he's somebody who could see. Well, I mean, they even make a joke about the gnome that gets Nostradamus, who gets kind of run over. Like, he gets run over. He gets squished. And they're like, well, he maybe he got out of the way and now he's just too embarrassed to come back. It's just like, and it's very funny in a dark way. And I think that, but still,
a lot of people out there who think Elvis is still alive somewhere. So like,
right, exactly. but my point is that yes, he uses the stereotypes as a starting point, and he builds these characters that feel like real people with flaws and strengths. I mean, and sometimes their flaws are their strengths. I think that that's especially true for Grandma. She has a lot of great strengths. She's a good leader. She's able to help people focus, but sometimes she gets a little naggy, just a little bit, and she needs to be taken down. That's what I think. And Dorcas really wants to be a leader, but he's not cut out for that. And she says to him, I love the part where she says to him, you can talk to machines and not everybody can do that, which is one of her strengths as a leader. She's able to see what people's skills are. Right. And she's not upset that that he's not in charge, even though he's supposed to be in charge. She's just like, nobody listens to you but you can do this other thing. And so but she does need, I'm focusing on her because her strengths are her weaknesses, and it's very, very clear, much clearer to me in this story than with some of the other characters, how her character works as far as that particular topic.
Yeah.
Sometimes she's a little too bossy, and she even at one point says, maybe I just need to stop telling the gnomes what to do. But the point is that she's a stereotype. At the same time, she's very much a real character. Mescalin's the same way. Gerda's going through this crisis of faith, and having been through a crisis of faith that's actually very similar to the one that Gerda went to. Similar, it's complicated. I'm not going to get into it, but I've gone through a similar existential crisis of faith, okay? And I'm like, I relate to this dude, man. He's like, he's just like, I'm learning all these things that if I had just stuck to what I was before, then I would have only been wrong once, and now I'm wrong all the time, and it's just, I just love it. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gushing. I'm sorry.
No, hey, these books are worth gushing over.
But I like I said, they're real. It's weird that I identify with, these characters the way I do. So anyway. I don't know if I have, unless you have another
thing I want to point out is the language. So Mesclin and the store gnomes all speak English. It's very sped up English, but they're able to understand the humans just by having the thing slow them down and speed them up, vice versa. But when they meet the Florida gnomes, they don't understand the Florida gnomes because the Florida gnomes are still speaking something similar to original Gnomish. And I don't know if Pratchett intended that, but just that it shows that the store gnomes have adopted humanity in a way that the Florida gnomes didn't.
Yeah.
So even though they're portrayed as more wild and tribal, and it just makes you wonder how much culturally the Florida gnomes are more gnomish. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And he even
said, the Florida gnomes also didn't have writing, whereas the store gnomes definitely did, from living in the store and being exposed to signs, which somehow they eventually intuited how to read. And
I think the Florida gnomes, because they understood when the thing wrote NASA.
Yes, they recognized
they had seen it written on the side of it.
Fair enough.
They recognized it. They didn't read it.
fair enough. But
I did like it though, where the thing tells them, "Get ready to run." What are you gonna do? I don't know how they're gonna react. I'm gonna write the name of their god.
I like the idea that they're like, well, we see more stars after it goes up, so obviously they're still making the sky, and it's because you can see satellites,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and they look like stars. Anyway, it's just great. It's a great book. Everyone should read it.
It's
It
great.
won't take much
Everyone
time.
should read it. Yeah.
It's not a commitment. You're not committing to something. First of all, it's complete. Yay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about not really starting series. There's a couple exceptions that aren't finished because there's certain authors that you get things that happen, shall we say, with their series, as in they're not finished yet.
Mm-hmm,
Whereas here we have a lovely complete novel. It was probably, and I listened to all my books on 1.5. It was probably maybe 8 hours total for the 3 books, and they're just delightful.
At 0.5.
Yeah, on 1.5, it's that each individual book is about 5 hours, and in my copy here that has the whole trilogy in one volume, it's 400 pages, 424 pages. So
And just
it's a
pick it
good
up.
size book, but not too big.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And
And
always loads of fun.
And yeah, like I said, it's not this huge commitment, and it brought a lot of joy in my life. And I just love the fact that the gnome's world keeps getting bigger and bigger. It starts in the hole, goes to the store, goes to the quarry, goes to the world, goes to the universe, and even Mescaline when he gives the flower. And I think it was a perfect gesture, by the way. He gives her the flower, and she's like, "This is the most wonderful thing ever." And he goes, "It's pretty good, but I bet there's more wonderful things, even more wonderful out there." And then you hear the Star Trek music playing because you're going bravely into the unknown to boldly go where no gnome has gone before, or actually to find their home. But whatever.
To boldly
It
go
did
where
feel-
gnomes came from in the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the end does feel a little Star Trek-y, going off into the universe. I'm not saying that as like a diss. It was great. They have a freaking replicator, a food replicator on their ship. I loved it. And the thing goes, I need to explain to you about molecule breakdown and regeneration from a variety of matter? He goes, no. He goes, it's just science. He's like, okay.
Yes.
It is funny how the word science becomes the new almost religion. You know, it's like instead of the store did it or whatever, it's science. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, another funny point. It was it's like when they're driving Jacob across the field, and Dorcas is like, quit breaking things. They're hard to make. These things are hard to make. And Grima's like, they killed a gnome. This is in revenge for killing the gnome. And he's like, gnomes are easy to make.
Yeah.
You just need other gnomes.
You just need other gnomes.
And Grima's like, you're weird.
Yeah, that was good.
And that's what I mean by like everything. There's so little, like every little paragraph has these funny little moments, but also smart, wise moments. And they're funny, but they're smart and wise at the same time. And so,
Yeah,
I
that's
like
all I have to say.
when Mescaline is all frustrated and angry. At least I think it's Mescaline, and he says, "That's what being alive is, thing. It's being badly prepared for everything because you only get one chance."
Yes. Because the thing's like, you're not prepared for this. There's a certain amount of truth to that. Like, you prepare, and then life happens to you. I mean, not that you can't make decisions or anything. It's just that sometimes things just happen that you're not prepared for.
Oh, and here's a question for the ladies. When a man proposed to you, did you ever talk to him about frogs?
No.
No.
I actually kind of frustrated the guy I ended up marrying because I wanted to talk about, like, if we have children, what if this? And, like, I wanted to talk about, like, things, and he wanted to buy me. It was much more practical than he was. But, I don't have to deal with him anymore.
Yeah.
Like, these are things you should talk about if you're going to get married.
Oh, yeah. I've actually written a list for my boys and being like, before you decide on, if there's someone you think about you're going to marry, be sure to ask these questions first.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Among
Everyone
them,
should have that list.
do you want to have kids?
Yeah, that one's important.
I kept seeing these videos about people who are like, yeah, I got married only to find out my husband, wife, whatever did not want kids. I'm like, that would have been a good thing to talk
Yeah,
about
why did
before
you
the
not
wedding.
talk about it before?
Yeah, it seems kind of important. Like kids are a big thing. Big deal, guys.
Yeah, and if you are going to have kids, how will the work be divided? Who's going to take what time off and how? And it's just so much.
If you have kids, you should definitely read them this series. And I think you could probably read it to an like somebody who you could probably read it to a very young reader, a very young kid. Like I would say 8. They may not be able to read it themselves, but
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. I'll try to read it to
they're
my
good.
granddaughter when I get a chance. I don't see her that often, and then she never sits still for anything. So, any last words?
No, I'm
Nope.
done.
It's good books. Do recommend. It's a fun time.
Thank you for joining us with our discussion of Terry Pratchett's The Bromeliad Trilogy. We really enjoyed it, and we hope you will too. I'm Seeker, and saying goodbye with me is
Bye.
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 Might see you next time.
Good night, Internet.
Bye.
That concludes our episode. Please like and subscribe. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Give us 5 stars and drop us a review on Spotify, iTunes, or any podcast app that allows reviews. You can find us on the Legendarium Discord. The invite link is on legendarium.com and in the show notes. Green Team of the Legendarium can be found on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and wherever great podcasts are heard. Thanks to Professor Craig for loaning us a little corner of your media empire. Shout out to Horizon Brave for starting it all. Music is Galactic Damages by Jingle Punks. All right. Well, before I do the outro, I'm going to read one quote. And just when you'd got out of the flower and were feeling really proud of yourself, you'd look at the new, big, wide, endless world around you, and eventually you'd notice that it had petals all around the horizon.